Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my show Techie Talks with Raghav. And in this show, in this episode, I have Terry. I have known Terry for about a year and a half right now. We worked together at a previous company. I know Terry as a great thinker and a person who is visionary in the space of AI and ML. And that is one of the reasons why I wanted him to talk to all of our viewers
and tell his experiences. So before I jump in, why don't you introduce yourself, who you are, and set the context for us?
Yeah. Thank you for having me on, Raghav. I first I enjoy seeing your face. It's been a while.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
Raghav, we did not work on the same team, but we collaborated on some projects and Raghav was the one place I could go in the organization and feel comfortable that data engineering tasks would be in good hands. So we have that background. I we did work together at Johnson Controls. I've since taken a role with a company. It's a Series E, a unicorn healthcare startup called Omada Health, and I will be building the AI team and capabilities there. So yeah.
awesome, Terry. Actually, that's just the tone of the conversation. People have a very high expectation for the next decade of AI, Terry. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a high growth trajectory. I think we're just on the precipice of, I mean, let's talk candidly. The companies really that are getting the benefits from AI now. There are some, sort of outlier companies in the broader market, but it's mostly Fang. Fang and Tesla and Microsoft and Amazon, the companies that we would suspect that are very ambitious in the tech space. That's who benefits today. And the technologies, obviously, with transformers and large language models over the past few years, but just traditional computer vision applications, text analytics, the sort of bread and butter AI applications I don't think have reached any sort of commercial mass success. There's an article from VentureBeat from it's actually a couple years old, but it states from a survey of a large number of companies that like 90% of data science projects don't make it into production. And I think that is and then there's another article from MIT, from Sloan, from very recent, that states that only about a max of 16% of companies in North America are realizing benefits from AI. So I think in terms of we know that it works as an augment. Now there's a disconnect between the hype of the art of the possible and what's actually executable today. But we know as an augment, it's very powerful and that very few people are realizing the benefits of it. So I think with that as context, I think the growth trajectory over the next 10 years is really strong. I think the pinch point, the bottleneck is that there are very, very, very few people that understand how to execute AI at scale. And I think that's the bottleneck of today.
So, very good points, to be honest. But we have only 16% of the people with all those statistics who are implementing AI and stuff. But there might be some minor things where people are seeing success. Are those in the areas of text analytics? Or what are some key areas where these companies are driving? You gave me an example of FANG companies. It can be FANG companies, of course, but what are those key areas?
What do you
Yeah.
think? Yeah.
So I think I'm not a researcher. I want to make that point. I'm very much an applied data science specialist. But I think from my perspective, I am more bullish on generative AI, large language models, applications than anything. And
Okay.
I think today, I think done correctly, And I think that's the key. I think there are a lot of what we associate with chat GPT or large language models, whatever the provider is, whether it's Llama or Hugging Face or whoever, Bard. Large language models, there's the consumer application of that, which is, all of these models, these foundational models are trained on sort of the broader internet. And it's a general model. It's called a foundational model because it's a general model. But I think for enterprises to get real value from that, you have to do what's called fine tuning. And you have to fine tune on native data. And I think the companies that do that, it's not a simple task, but I think the companies that do that, and you can do it today, but I
Yeah.
think the value in that is it's really untapped. I mean, and it's tremendous. I think there are a lot of opportunities in generative today.
Good. But going back to the foundational aspect of it, I think to call it to a different direction. So you said a couple of times the value of data. So how important is that data foundation, data engineering capability? Slightly a different question, but because we are here, because you said you're an applied person, you see the value you have having of that company, or companies have that robust data platform, or you see big gaps there.
Oh, huge gap. Huge gap.
That's how I get paid.
Well, I still think that the independent of any specific AI application, a company, and this is this has been debated a number of different ways in the space by a number of different companies. But I think for me, and in an applied sense, especially enterprises with limited budgets and limited ability to hire at scale subject matter experts in the AI space, the biggest value for what companies have budget-wise to spend is without question in data engineering. If you can hire a 2 or 3 person team with someone like yourself that understands how to push data around and connect data from disparate sources, even if you're just reporting, you're just providing reporting capabilities or visibility into what's there, the by far the biggest value for enterprises today is investment in data engineering capabilities. And you have to anyway. I mean, you have to
Yes.
do it anyway. So it's for sure, it's a great point. That's the biggest value.
Saying that, an analyst, should they go in the direction of data science, Python, and applied applications? Or if they have good SQL skills, they start learning data engineering. This is the confusion of the market when I start talking to people. Because that hype, they're actually good people, but data engineering is so tough. Hey, AI, they're tough, but that's so fancy. I'd earn more, but there is nothing there yet. A college student comes to you and says, Terry, I'm a little confused. Think I should take data engineering or data science?
I think it's a great question. I think I think there are traits and characteristics, whether or not one's interested in data engineering or data science or applied AI. I think there are traits or characteristics that one should foster and then apply them later. So I think Python's a must. Whatever track you want to get in data, Python is a must. And being proficient in it. And I want to talk about just the skills first. SQL is very important as well, whether or not you're in data science or you're in whatever the field of applied data science. SQL and Python are crucial. Um, I think those are just trades or skills. I think what folks that you might speak to or folks that might listen to this, what you more want to cultivate are problem solving skills and the ability to attach technical solutions to enterprise problems. And that's the big gap. That's the huge gap. I've hired people, and I've gone through a lot of resumes for folks that have Python skills or SQL skills and can demonstrate that, but are not intellectually curious or don't understand how to leverage those skills to solve problems in the enterprise. And that's the challenge for data science professionals, wherever you fall on the spectrum, is it needs, we've passed the point of sort of R&D. What we do needs to provide value now. And for that to happen, there has to be a problem solving capability and a set of skills that it can evaluate the business. What are the needs of the business, how the business operates, and how I can attach technical solutions and problem solving skills to the business.
I think
So
it's a very good point. Yeah.
yeah,
I think it's a
Very good point. Hey, you are off the school, you have SQL and Python skills. It might be not good enough, but when your hiring manager is Terry, he'll be looking at 30-40% of your technical skills, but 60-70% of your intellectual curiosity and the other skills.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I've seen it where multiple times where very bright people, maybe advanced degrees in computer science, very good coders, but if there's not a way to connect to that technical ability to a problem to be solved in the enterprise that delivers outcomes, how valuable are those skills?
Thank you so much for that context. And I'll bring back our discussion to AI now. One of the most important points is 90% of our subscribers are data analysts and engineers, and around 20% are upcoming students, right? In India and in US, and in US, mostly Milwaukee based. And all of them have a fire going on right now, and a big confusion too. Fire right now, like how to go into AI, and confusion right now is because next year market is going to be like, we'll see, we'll figure that out kind of thing. But with that said, you are in healthcare. Whenever I speak to somebody uh, in healthcare, and I'm fortunate you are also in healthcare right now, they say that's the next big thing after the Fang companies, after the technology. AI is going to flourish in healthcare. Is that true? Is that miles away? Very close by? Okay, I don't know. But how is the direction in AI in healthcare?
It is true. The possibilities are there are unique, there's like a singular unique challenge with healthcare. And it's that there are, whether it's HIPAA or other data constraints, there are constraints around personal health and PHI, personal health information. And knowing how to navigate that is a must for anyone who wants to be in data science. I would say this, there have been a lot of projects over the past 5, 7, 10 years leveraging computer vision. In fact, there were a lot of predictions, falsely, a lot of predictions that radiologists would be replaced. I think healthcare from an application standpoint is rich, and I'll talk about the specific application that I am interested in. But I'll say this, it's the same in healthcare as it is in any other field, in that AI is a very powerful augment today. It's an assistant, a tool, and can be very powerful in that respect, done correctly, but it's not going to replace anyone in the near term. So I think if someone, if you have folks that are following your segments
channel.
here,
Yep.
yeah, your channel, and what do I do? Healthcare is a great place to go. I would try to start putting together a portfolio of leveraging wearable sort of health metrics. So, folks have Apple Watches, folks have Whoops, whatever the technology, continuous blood glucose meters. Put together portfolios where you can leverage sort of these wearable device metrics that are generated from a user, and tie that into classification models, or if you have access to a foundational training set, you can use a foundational model and some native data. Like how can you use wearables, sensor inputs from a patient, and use that to tailor the sort of course of action, the treatment, the care given to that patient, or, guidance given to that person on what changes they should or shouldn't make. And I think that's, whether it's consumer, and this is coming, whether it's Apple or whoever does it, Google, but all of this wearable data fed into a large language model to tailor a unique healthcare experience for the individual based on their metrics is a thing. So however you can demonstrate competencies in that field, I think would be a really nice portfolio to put together.
So you're saying, how can your data treat you?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. That's the beauty of I think what large language models give us today is the ability to tailor, whether it's healthcare or whatever, tailor unique learnings to an individual based on like actual inputs. So sensor data, location data, whatever the inputs may be, the
Right.
objective inputs, fine tuning models based on that, and then tailoring outcomes is I think a real untapped sort of the next stage in healthcare and other places.
I think it's a very good idea. I think the people who are listening to this, or however it is, there's so many examples, as you said, your heart rate metrics and all that standard wearable metrics are there. But there are so many different areas in the body, of course, where there's a lot of data constantly coming in. Example, gut is a big thing right now. I mean, there's a whole big research going on. Skin is a big research going on. Water content. But is there, I don't know, there might be support mechanism, of course, for this, but with all this going on, augmented intelligence, let's call it augmented intelligence, then it's not artificial intelligence. If the artificial intelligence and augments itself and becomes the augmented intelligence, do you see the skills getting augmented to the existing people? And this was most probably my last question. The augmented to the existing skill sets of people, uh, or do you see a lot of displacement in jobs because there are people who have been doing a lot of stuff for 20, 25 years? It's a thing now. There was ChatGPT was not there. There's a big hype there. I do a lot of stuff in ChatGPT. It helps me extremely. All my YouTube, all my social media content, what I do. If I have to do any SEO, search engine optimization, gives me tags. So marketing, I definitely know. I use a tool called Gamma, which basically creates me good designs for all my banners already. I use a lot. Right? It augmented my skills. It made me productive for sure. But there are segment of people who are, there's maybe it's regulations, what you just said, who are scared that their jobs are displaced completely. Uh, do you see that happening? New jobs getting if we split this into two segments, what are the new? Do you see any new jobs getting created, and any old jobs getting displaced? Is the word I use. Yeah.
I think that's always independent of ChatGPT. I think just with technological advancements generally, that's always I mean, it has been for a long time,
Yeah.
centuries, hundreds of years.
Yeah.
I think specifically with language models, yeah, I can see not manual labor jobs, but I can see marketing, a lot of sort of, I'd want to be very technical if I were in marketing or sort of sales support. I'd want to have something, beyond, if I were in content creation of any sort, I would want to make sure I had something unique that I brought, just because it's a very real possibility that those, um, some portion or consolidation could happen in that
Yes.
space.
Yes.
I do think it opens, I think language models, even in that scenario, I think it opens the possibility for new jobs like prompt engineers, or
Mm.
if I were in marketing and we wanted to, I still think there's still, we're not at the point where these language models are intuitive enough to just trust inherently. I think there still has to be a human in the loop, even for applications like marketing. So getting, for example, you have to be, from a prompting standpoint, you have to be pretty skilled to get usable images out of Dolly or Midjourney, some of these image generation engines. So I think, from a content creation standpoint, yes, there are, if I were in that, I would bolster my technical capabilities for sure. But I think there are opportunities to sort of adapt, as is the case with any technological innovation. There are opportunities to adapt with the technology and, sort of upskill and be of value regardless.
Awesome. I think we covered a lot, to be honest. I was just writing down as you were saying. We spoke about all the traits. We spoke about HIPAA regulations, PHI, problem solving, foundational, augmented, but large language models, applied aspects, limited budgets in the company, and how they can grow, and how radiologists are going to completely replace. With all these things, definitely there is looking one. I think the theme was evident that, hey, I think we're not there yet. We are going in that direction. Uh, it's definitely augmentation, not artificial yet. So it's going to be added. But if last but not the least, same question again. A college student comes to you, Terry, and says, okay, I think I got my master's in artificial intelligence, but I'm not getting a job. Is problem solving the only area you want me to focus on? I did everything. I did everything in the course, right? And the market is going to be good or bad next year. They're saying it's going to be bad. And most probably it's just the way how people project it. But for AI, it's going to be good, right? For AI, it's going to be good. For everything else, it's going to be bad. What are some tips what Terry wants to give to that college student?
Yeah, build a portfolio. There are plenty of places to find training data sets. I would suggest this. I mentioned what I thought in healthcare would be sort of the next frontier of tailored outcomes based on sensor inputs. Well, a different segment, but a similar application is in manufacturing, and it's a space, industrial applications generally, whether it's manufacturing or oil and gas or buildings. Industrial applications generally are amazing places to work on unique problems and build a portfolio, whether it's predictive maintenance or whether it's computer vision or robotics. Robotics are going to be, are and will continue to be huge growth drivers over the next several years. So I think leveraging machine learning AI skills in industrial applications, even outside of healthcare, is probably the hottest place to build a portfolio and get a job very quickly. And you don't have the data constraints. Someone from India, really progressive, smart, talented person from India might have trouble getting into North American healthcare because of HIPAA regulations and that sort of thing. But those things don't exist in manufacturing.
Yep.
And there's some really fun, unique problems to solve. I come from the industrial space. There's some really fun and unique problems to solve. So build a portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
Um, don't just list skills like Python and SQL and machine learning. Like, build a portfolio of projects. GitHub's a great place. Any sort of repository like that. And then demonstrate intellectual curiosity. Show that you're interested in broader things, and that that the hiring manager somehow understands that you have these technical skills, but that also you have the curiosity to solve problems with those skills. So learn a little bit about the industry, some of the big drivers of manufacturing. What are some of the problems that a manufacturing space or a healthcare space or a finance space, what are some of the problems that they might be interested in tackling or solving as an enterprise, independent of AI, and then think about how you can contribute technically to solve those problems. So I think the two big things are build a portfolio. There's no substitution for that, and then demonstrate intellectual curiosity.
Thank you so much. I think that's That's an amazing thing, because there are smart people out there. They just need some motivation sometimes and some guidance. If they start building their portfolio and build intellectual curiosity and build the portfolio too, then
Yeah.
yeah, that marriage there can get them a better position. But thank you so much, Terry. During the holidays, you took out time for us and spoke to us. Uh, all I can say is thank you. Everybody, any specific questions? Terry is busy, but I'll try to get answers. You can put questions in the comments below or reach out to me on LinkedIn. Terry, is it okay? I just put your
Sure.
LinkedIn profile. People can follow you. Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
I'll,
Yeah.
I'll put Terry's information down there too. And thank you so much, Terry. Otherwise, have a great day.
Yeah. Great to see your face, Rikov. Thank you for asking me on.